Hey everybody, All the Things here, and today we're talking about the book LeaderShift. LeaderShift is a book by John C. Maxwell. If you want a picture of him, this is basically the only picture in the book or on the book, but there's a picture of him. And this book is a leadership book, it is a self-help book, it is an improvement book, but as the title kind of implies, it puts a different spin on the idea of leadership, and we're going to get into that. The book LeaderShift talks a lot about different leadership ideas, different leadership strategies and whatnot, but really what it focuses a lot on is if you're already a leader, if you're already trying to become a better leader and you're already in that sphere, not like I'm not a leader and I'm trying to become one, which this book can still help with, but I think this book is more targeted at people who are already leaders who are trying to improve their leadership. This book is about taking ideas that you have of being a leader and growing those ideas or shifting them so you can become a better leader. So if I could describe this book in one word, I would say this is a book about perspective on leadership. Really, while reading this book, there's a lot of great examples of very specific things you can do in order to change the way you think about leadership and become a better leader. But ultimately, the thing I got out of this book was this idea that your perspective on what's going on drastically impacts how you act in that situation. This is important because if your perspective makes the right thing to do hard, you can still do it, but you'll have to fight yourself or feel like you're sacrificing, and it won't be really fun. But if you can change your perspective so that what you think is right is really the least resistance path or the easiest thing to do, then you get the ball rolling, you get momentum, you feel uplifted and energized by doing it rather than drained by doing it. In either case, with a good perspective or a bad perspective, you can do the right thing, but I think this book talks about different ways of looking at things so that you can obtain good perspectives about how to be a leader and then think good and act good to where that's just the easy thing to do that you wanted to do anyways. Personally, for me, I think some of the particular examples in this book were really helpful, and talking about just not necessarily forcing yourself to do the right thing, but taking a step back and really looking at what's going on and looking at different perspectives and different angles before you decide to make a decision, rather than assuming this is the right decision, assuming that you have all the information or the right perspective, and then brute forcing your way to the right answer. Sometimes what you think can be right, if you take a step back and look and get some more information about the situation, can be very different. So this book has a lot of different examples of changing perspective, and it gives you some acronyms or some mnemonics and different things like that to help you remember different ways of challenging your perspective, making sure you're on track, and reminding you to think about this idea of higher leadership. This book, in addition to the idea of different perspectives, giving you the ability to do the right thing easier rather than just forcing yourself to do the right thing, I think this book talking about how there's this continual growth in your leadership and you're never truly the best leader. You're always getting better no matter how good or no matter how old you are. You're always growing, like a plant, like this plant. Plants grow, and if they're not growing, they're dying. And it's the same thing with your leadership and basically any skill. But I hadn't really thought of that in terms of leadership. And so this book is really good, I would think, in saying that leadership is a skill that some people are naturally gifted at, but you have to work on, even if you have talent in it, to develop it and grow it and move it into your own style. And then on top of that, while you're developing and growing and moving it into your own style, you have to have good perspectives. You have to look at the problems so that everybody can win, not just we can get this done, but how do we make this a win-win situation for everybody? The book is LeaderShift by John C. Maxwell. It's about 250 pages. There's no pictures in here. Actually, there's some diagrams, but there's no pictures, except for this picture of Mr. Maxwell on the back. But I really like this book. I recommend this book even to people who are not looking at being leaders. It's a book about challenging your perspectives, which I think is important for everybody. So if you like that kind of stuff, I'd say pick it up. It's like, I don't know, 20 bucks for this book. It says $17.99 on the back in the US. So Yeah, Leadership by John C. Maxwell. I think it's a good book. If you read this book or you read self-help books or books about leadership, I'd love to hear what you have to say. So you can like, comment, or subscribe, or message me if YouTube lets you do that. But I thought this book was really interesting, and if there's other books that are similar or have interesting ideas on perspectives or leadership, please let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good day.